Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Tabletalk Tuesdays. It is going to be a little bit of a double episode type thing because, we've not done one yet. We've done two sessions of the campaign. So we're just going to chat about the campaign as a whole and the last two episodes, how we think they've all gone. As most of you who are here will know, my name is Eli. I play one of the characters, Razian. With me today we have Kat, who plays Geraldine, and we have Cass,
Hey, what's up, strippers?
who plays Kyler, and we will also be joined by our masterful guidance counselor slash DM Muxlow slash tabletop, if that's your kind of thing.
We love a tabletop.
We do love a tabletop. Mux will be joining us shortly. They just have to attend to father duties first. I'm also adjusting my mic volume slightly down because I know from listening back to the VODs, I was significantly louder than everyone else, and I'm like, uh-oh. That should be a little bit better. But yeah, that is the crack. So how are we all doing today?
I'm not too bad. I'm getting by. Had karate, and it was good. How about you, buddy? What's new with you?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm grand. I'm grand. I'm surviving.
What about you, Cat Doll? What's up?
I'm alright. It's been a bit of a slow day. Just chilling here, talking about D&D and drinking a smoothie.
We love to see it.
Nothing too interesting.
I have the remains of my McDonald's milkshake. But I also did bring water. I was smart enough to bring water with me, so
Call me dumb.
Sorry,
I have water. I've got some ASMR. Here we go.
Ah, yes, the famous Pepsi Max can.
There we go. I do it every stream. Yeah, I drink Pepsi Max and sometimes Iron Brew. That's literally
it.
That's literally it.
Like any respectable Scottish person.
Yeah, I drink Iron Brew. It's not my first choice, but it is a matter of national pride for me.
Yeah.
I have to drink Iron Brew. But yes, friends, I have a couple useless things I found today when I was between doing things. So I was watching Takeshi's Castle Indonesia, and in doing so, I discovered a great piece of trivia. One of the hosts was openly expressed an attraction for both men and women. And that host that expressed this bisexual feeling was Basil Brush.
What?
Basil Brush is bisexual.
I saw you tweet that
Who
earlier.
is that?
Yeah, Basil Brush. Basil Brush is he's kind of like English Kermit. I don't know how else to describe. He's a puppet. He's a little fox.
Oh, he's fugly.
Yo, take that back. Basil.
I will not.
Basil is a gem. I fucking love Basil Brush. Basil Brush is bisexual.
Basil Brush
He's
is
not cute.
one of the only good things to come out of the United Kingdom.
If Basil Brush was Prime Minister, I wouldn't vote for Scottish independence. He's fucking great. He's like this slightly camp. I mean, you should have seen it coming. He's a little bit camp. He's a little bit. He's this camp foxy guy. He's a fox that dresses in these gaudy suits, and his catchphrase is he tells a joke.
Terrible.
He tells a joke. He goes ha ha ha, boom boom. He's fucking great. And he said he would like to get with both Kylie Minogue and her brother on Takeshi's Castle Indonesia.
Wait,
isn't he a BBC character?
Yeah, yes. Well, is he? I don't know if he's owned by the BBC. I'm gonna look it up. This is Mux isn't here, so I'm gonna declare this the Basil Brush segment of the stream. Let's find out if he's. Let's look at his Wikipedia page real quick. Because it's in my Google search, Basil Brush bisexual. Am I the only one that's caught this? First appearance was on the Three Scampies. It doesn't say, no, he's not. He was first on ITV, and then he went to CBBC.
Ah, right. Okay.
So he's done multiple networks. He's kind of a celebrity. I'll tell you what, like this new season. Okay,
he plays both sides of the peace wall, as they say.
He plays both sides of the peace wall. This new season. Did you ever watch Takeshi's Castle, Eli?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, well, it's essentially it started as a game show in Japan where people do horrific things. It's kind of like the Squid Game. If they didn't die, they just had to embarrass themselves on international TV. Like they had to dive into murky water when they failed a challenge. They had to climb a wall that was covered in slime. They had to run against 4 paper doors, but 2 of the doors had like boards behind them. So
don't they show like
off.
Pokemon and stuff on the show at some point as well?
They do sometimes, yeah.
Yes, then I have seen it. I have seen it a couple of times.
They like and like the whole thing is like this guy Takeshi, and the thing is, there's a guy that helps them out, and he's like the guy that leads the contestants in their assault on Takeshi's Castle, and his name's General Lee, right? And like, and not the Republican like fucking what you call it guy that they all like. No. This guy is a suave silver fox, military man, looking good, always dressed immaculately. Like, he's the kind of guy that both you and your mum fancy. Like, that's where I would put him in. Like,
I'm not sure there's a lot of crossover there.
Are you kidding? Michael Bublé, General Lee, those
That's
kind
the
of
full
men.
list.
That's the full list. I'll tell you what. I'll show you guys a picture of General Lee. I'll put it in the Dungeons and Dragons chat and confuse Mux and Chris.
No shame.
And then I'm gonna find his counterpart. I'm gonna find his counterpart, but here we go. And yeah, he was a friendly, commanding, reassuring presence. And this new guy, he's just not up to it. But here we go. Here's a photo of him in the Dungeons and I can't. Can I say what our D&D channel's called?
It's an over 18 stream.
Okay, it's called Dungeons and Bad Dragons. That's an action shot. Let me get a shot of him like standing to attention for you. There's another one.
You know what? Probably would. Yeah, probably would, to be honest.
Like,
I mean, I wouldn't kick him out of bed.
Wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crisps, as my mum would say.
And now I need to find his counterpart. And his counterpart. He's not a bad looking guy. But he's very much an example of like how media tends to like favor the young and like kind of push older people out of a job and stuff. Like he's like, don't get me wrong, he looks good, but he doesn't have the same charisma. He's the captain.
What about his uniqueness, nerve, and talent?
He doesn't have the same uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Like, General Lee is a dilf. This guy, he's a relatively attractive 20-something. Like,
do you know what he looks like? You've seen all of the Indiana Jones movies, right? Haven't you?
Yes.
Do you remember Short Round? He looks like Short Round grown up.
But yes, this is my strong opinions on my strong opinions.
In this essay, I will.
On like people hurting themselves on Asian television. General Lee is top tier. Captain, he's mid. Sorry, carry on. Also, Basil Brush is bisexual.
Anyway, guys, Dungeons and Dragons.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know if we should start because Mux isn't here, but yeah, let's get wired in.
We can like do a bit of introductory stuff. So
okay.
Obviously, in between the session 0, which like people on stream didn't see because we did it off stream, and episode 2, which we did on Sunday there, we have like successfully taken out some luggage in the most violent fashion. Bought some small.
Yeah.
Procured a fart fairy. A lot of this is just you, by the way, Kat.
Yeah,
But,
You've done nothing.
main character syndrome, by the way.
I had nothing to do with the luggage. I literally was not even within like 60 feet of it. It wasn't me.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we literally killed it before you got in range. That's
Yeah.
Quite literally, I was too busy across the terminal with my book.
Now, Chris tried to take credit for it in character when it was really Kyler Drazian and like most fatally Lilith that took out the luggage.
It was actually Malort.
Yeah, it was Malort. God rest his soul. The deep one beneath the waves has called him back to service.
So Cass,
Is that where we're saying he's going?
Yeah.
In between summons?
On a reel, how long do you think it's going to be before Lilith stabs you in the fucking back?
I don't think she will. I think.
Oh no, she'll
like,
stab you while you're looking at her, so
yeah,
you know it was her.
She'll hit me. Well, she'll hit Kyler. Alaska won't hit me, I don't think, but she'll hit Kyler.
Alaska would 100% hit you.
She would 1000% smack
Yeah,
you.
no, she
And
would
you would
if
enjoy
I deserved it. She would if I did. Yeah, probably. But like, I'm saying I haven't done anything to deserve Alaska hitting me. I'm not questioning her efficacy at hitting me because I don't doubt she could. But I'm thinking Lilith probably will treat Kyler like an annoying younger sibling. I feel that's the dynamic. It's like a fucking idiot, but like, aw, you fucking idiot, you know?
I mean, luckily it's not like an actually like fatal issue. It's just like you chose to yeet her familiar.
I didn't yeet her familiar. I kept
yes, you
familiar...
did. You literally like the spell or whatever ability you used. We are going to be calling like Yote Malort. Like that is going to like you yeeted Malort.
Well, no, they didn't try and yeet Malort. What they tried to do was like fucking acrobatic dive with their javelin towards the big fucking ogre, and Malort went javelin trident, big fucking stick that's got 3 pointy things. It might as well be a fork at this point. It's a spork.
Can it please just be an overgrown fork?
It's an overgrown spork.
You know, she does have the whole like make bigger, make smaller spell. What if she literally does that to your trident?
That is the perfect revenge.
I was gonna say like improvise a weapon. Like if we ever like have our weapons taken off her, she could make a fork.
A trident out of like she could use a fork and
like a fish fork, make it into a trident, and then we can do the thunderclap strike, which I've taken to calling the mega smite damage.
Or do one better. I see you played Knifey Spoony before.
I see you played Knifey Spoony before. That's not a knife. This is a knife. That's a spoon. Fucking love Simpsons shit posting.
But
can I? Oh yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask a question. Who's someone that's kind of surprised you in the past few sessions besides Mux? Because Mux surprises everyone. Like.
Mux never fails to impress me.
Never.
Like, I've been playing D&D or TTRPGs with Mux on and off for like over 5 years at this point. My first full campaign of a TTRPG, Mux ran it. But this, like, as someone who's been in multiple of Mux's games, this is the best, like, world building and best, like, concept for a campaign that they've ever put together. And like most people don't know, but like this isn't the first time we've tried to run True Arms Academy. It was like
really?
Yeah, it was very very different. I was like one of the players in the first iteration playing Drazian, funnily enough, because he just suits the world so much. It's great. But like
I was the most recent addition to the group. Like Chris and Alaska were in there the first time around, right?
This was years ago, and I wasn't even a part.
Shit!
So we ran True Arms about 2 years ago. This was an IRL campaign that we actually ran with loads of IRLs, and like great group, but it just didn't suit the group dynamic. the like how those players played it True Arms didn't really suit them, and like Mux kind of like felt that it was their fault, that like they weren't like building a good enough world. And I was like, no, this is the best campaign you've ever done. It just does not suit this group, and if you ever run it again, please run this again, because I loved it. I had so much fun. I haven't had this fun in D&D in ages. Please, please, please. And
I love the setting. Yeah.
And then like when we were talking about putting together like a streamed campaign, Cass suggested Curse of Strahd, which I was on board for because it would have been funny.
It would have been
But
funny.
It's hefty for beginners, though.
Yeah, it is hefty.
That
for
was
beginners.
our concern.
That was our concern. And I just said, Mux, can you just do True Arms again, please? And they were like, oh, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll see. And like,
we're here.
I know Mux well enough that when Mux goes, we'll see, in a certain way, I know they're thinking about it. They're already the cogs are already turning. Yeah. And like honestly, it's such an amazing concept for a campaign. Like University for Adventures, it's like every fucking D&D player's dream in my eyes. Like, so
it's a good like bright fantasy, I think, which contrasts with like a lot of modern fantasy. Is it's not all Game of Thrones, but like most fantasy has sort of trended away from like whimsy almost, and I think it's a very whimsical world.
I also like the fact that it's this kind of like Final Fantasy-esque world, so it's like very
Magitech.
It's very Arcanotech, Final Fantasy 7 remake, Final Fantasy 15, those kind of vibes, which I love. It's my favorite genre of fantasy, because I like when there's like some technology in fantasy, and you like there's these like modern like references and things that are like familiar to us, but it's fantastical at the same time. And like it's Mux mixes those two well so impeccably. It's so good. I think actually everyone in their own way has kind of surprised me. Like Cass, you for instance, like Kyler is just like it's one of your greatest comedy works yet. Like just,
Thank you.
It's just like fucking everything that comes with Kyler is just so on the ball, and you'll say something and I will like find it so difficult not to just burst out laughing, because it's just
sometimes you do just burst out laughing.
I do. I can't
100%.
help it. I can't help it. It's so funny, and it's just
like,
completely out of pocket.
That's like the most endearing part about it, is that like as players, like we are laughing so fucking hard, and I think that makes even like difficult like situations, like we don't know what we're doing like in character, it's so much fun to like hear you be an absolute like silly, like
it's such a silly
you're
goose.
like an aloof little like exactly, like you're just so derpy sometimes, but like you're so like honest about it, like you mean so well. But
some of the things he says I think are actually quite intelligent. It's just phrased in a way that's fucking ludicrous, because like you said, like, right, this is a test, and you know, the questions get harder, so we should be looking to like kill things.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of my way of like expressing like, I think we should look for, you know, things getting more difficult probably means we're on the right track, given that it's probably how I would express it. I was like, how do I play this with a fucking moron?
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to be fighting enemies like it's a video game.
Yeah, because the logic of sound, because that's what was in my head when you said that, was like, oh yeah, video game, you know you're going the right way when you see the enemies. I'm like, I knew what you were trying to say, but I had to like not like act like I didn't get what you were trying to say because of the way Tyler was expressing it was so fucking stupid. Like, but like even at the start when like you were talking, you just went like mandem.
That's good. Mandem.
Yeah.
It's funny because mandem is such a it's a pidgin word, and then it came to the UK like after the Second World War.
Yeah.
But saying it in an American accent was so funny. Mandem.
Hi, cutie.
Mandem.
Mandem.
We do have mandem. no, because like I had a great idea for a clip for it. It was just like I didn't know the Tritons were in Postcode Wars.
You guys.
Shipping lane wars. Shipping lane wars.
Shipping lane wars.
God. Hi, Max.
Hello,
Hey, yo,
hello,
what
hello.
What ends you from?
Suez River.
Suez River.
Suez Canal.
Suez Canal is pussy, bro. Like,
yeah, got two ships stuck there.
Heard your uncle got fucked up by a ship, bruv.
hey, Mux, would you like to hear a fun fact I found out today?
No, fuck you.
Okay. Well, I was then going to tell you about how we were saying like how much we enjoyed your DMing, but
yeah, I
Now
was
we
licking
will
your
be
hole
doing
for
no
about the
such thing.
past 5 minutes, so
yeah, you missed it. You missed the chill Mux time, I'm afraid. If you were on Settlkin, you were doing proper adult stuff.
Delicious. Gimme.
Mandem.
I want French fries.
Oh no, it's France. It's the French.
What do we call French fries in Agalin? Come on, Mux. That's a lore question.
Surrender
Potato
chips.
sticks.
This is where I have to decide which of the races has a frank culture.
Which one surrendered in the last war?
Which nation put all of their soldiers on one line and then they just went around it?
It's funny because the best skit DreamWorks has ever done in its entirety of being was during Flushed Away, when the like evil frog like says to his band of merry ninjas, execute the action, and they just go, "We surrender."
Has Flushed Away even reached America? Because it's such
I have no idea what that is.
It's such a distinctly UK premise. I feel like
it's so
probably
funny. You need to watch.
I have no
Flushed
idea what that
Away.
is.
It's just a laugh.
Yeah. What race is a frank culture? Do you reckon?
Fairy fries.
Fairy fries sounds a bit like a slur. Not gonna lie.
Maybe it is.
Fairy fries was actually what I got called when I was working at Burger King.
Right.
Fairy fries.
But yeah, and it is now canon that all fairies in
Are the
wor-
French?
in the world of Eltanian follow a French culture. So
Oh, I will grant you the wishes 3.
pre-revolution, so you could stage a Les Mis.
Yes, as long as these motherfuckers have necks, the guillotine works.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying we moved on from peak form. You liberals might not like it, but this is what peak physical form looks like. The guillotine.
I want to build one at on Elon Musk's front lawn. Just
Could you please?
yeah.
Just post it on Twitter.
Mux.
At this point, it's the same thing.
True.
Truly?
Mux, you know who's bisexual?
Everybody in this call.
True, but do you want to know
Okay.
who's bisexual?
All right.
Hey,
Basil Brush.
canonically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom boom.
Boom, boom, man. Boom, boom. He says
That's
it
what.
twice, not
Yeah,
once.
exactly.
He made a joke today on Takeshi's Castle, Indonesia, with Guz Khan. He was like, is there any women in your life, Baz? He said, I'd quite like to have a go with Kylie Minogue or her brother.
Based.
Bisexual
Don't
brush.
usually get that from a character that's been on the BBC.
Oh, usually it's when I hear
Probably.
about the escapades of a BBC comedian from the 70s. Like,
Considering Basil is now like canonically bisexual, he may have also been on the BBC.
Big Badger cop.
Boom boom.
Oh no.
Kat, who who would you say has surprised you most in the campaign? Because I've just derailed it, so I'll pull it back. Here you go.
Me, boo.
I don't really know. I feel like I kind of met everyone through like wanting to be involved in this, so like I didn't really have any like preconceived notions about how people were gonna play or like who really people were.
I think Alaska's probably surprised me the most. To be honest, I think everyone surprised me like bits like how involved you've got with your Asian story from the get go. That shocked me.
See, the thing is that like the way you've presented a lot of his stuff, I feel like me as like another player, I see what you're putting down, and because I'm playing another character in a different campaign that is loosely sidestepped to the arc of your character, like I feel like I'm putting things together. And actually, Mux, we need to talk about that.
We three of us need to have a chat because Kat may have been brainstorming and there's ideas.
You're gonna meet Kaylin.
Oh, okay. Oh dear.
She's my my Drake Warden Ranger.
My OC.
She's yeah, it's gonna be cute.
Yeah, no, because like how I play, and this is how I play when I DM as well, is I will throw bones, and I'll see who picks them up, and like
and I feel like that's like I didn't expect to be able to like pick things like that up, so I feel like I've sort of like gone for that more than anything else because I feel like I'm understanding more of where you're going, which is really easy to like make Geraldine like sort of see where that's going, and like she just wants friends.
Which is
so
great.
I feel
One second.
No worries. I get you though. I get you. It's kind of it's this is the first time I've ever played a low intelligence character. Usually wisdom's my dump stat. Like so, like I play kind of dickhead sometimes, but like I've never played like an
self-insert.
Yeah.
Self-insert.
Literally, by the way, playing a bit of an abrasive dickhead. So it's kind of been fun, but like I do feel like sometimes I do miss like opportunities I would normally try and get involved in the session. But
I think this presents you with different opportunities this time.
I think you're right. I think it's different. I think I'm not quite as adept at recognizing them as I typically would be.
Yeah, but it does present you with these like very unique opportunities to like the way like Kyler's whole demeanor, like the whole Dread Pirates Roberts thing.
I laughed so fucking hard.
Me buckled. I just thought it was so good. And
incredible.
And Jesus Crustacean.
Crustacean.
I just think it's fantastic. It is so fantastic. But no,
the whole religion. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the whole religion's been so fun to brainstorm because I've literally just been taking bits of like religious parables and stuff and been like, right, how do I
make this a fish pun?
How do I make this a fish pun? I've also been like looking a lot at like youth pastor TikToks and stuff of like, I'm sorry, I only see you as a sister in Christ and stuff like that.
My brother Talos.
And that's my other thing. I've also been doing a lot of RP and ESO and Morrowind, which is like the most religious nutcases in the world. Well, and
get some ideas, get some good content.
I'm like, how do they do the mental gymnastics of like worshipping, like, well, for them it's 3 gods, but like 3 out of very many gods in a world where there's literal evidence that other gods exist. Like, it's kind of easy to be religious in real life because there's like other people's religions don't exist. Like, if you were a Christian and like you saw Vishnu like doing shit, like helping a child win a spelling bee, that would probably put doubt in your mind, wouldn't it? But like, so like, how do I create a fanatic for like one god and his like associated pantheon when there's evidence that other gods exist and like their works are concrete? Because no one can really be an atheist.
I think it's because in the world of ESO, they do not count themselves as gods other than people like Vivek.
Yeah.
Like, the Daedric princes do not call themselves gods. Mortals call them gods, but they just... No, we are just very powerful beings on different planes of existence. We're not gods.
The divines do, though, like Akatosh and Sindar and stuff. So, like... the official, like, because I've been looking at this, and this is like a total tangent, but the official position of the Tribunal Temple in the Second Era is that the divines existed, but they aren't all that great, and they're kind of like vestiges of their power at this point. And
We're the
living
better
divine.
gods.
The divines
Yeah.
are mid.
The divines are mid is the official position.
Mid.
Of
Yeah.
the divines are mid.
I feel like the tribunal like see themselves as almost like the Greek pantheon, and like the fucking divines are the titans essentially. That's
Yeah.
how they view it. Like they view it as we're the new guys on the block that are just gonna like take over and make everything
Yeah.
better.
So it's been really fun to like do that kind of research for
Mhm.
character, like to pull it back to the campaign. Like it's been really fun because like I don't usually play religious characters. Usually my characters in role play or tabletop or anything is I believe in the gods. I just don't like to bother them because that way they don't bother me. So playing a fanatic has been a lot of fun.
I kind of feel that as well, because like normally the characters I play are the ones that the gods are fucking with them, or they've kind of fucked with the gods and have made it like mortal enemies.
Yeah.
So like Drazian's relationship with his deity is an interesting one to play with, because it's like it's nothing that explosive or conflicting, so it's kind of same page type thing. Not like when people see who Drazian's deity is, that's probably going to rock the boat a little because it's an interesting one. But as far as his relationship with the deity it's fairly on the chill side. And there's a lot, because like I've done like extensive research into this deity over the past couple of years, because it's one of my favorite deities that doesn't just exist in D&D. And there's many like kind of false perceptions about the deity as well, which is going to be an aspect that like Drazian will take into account. So like if people are like, you worship that deity, it's like, yeah, you're kind of wrong about this for this reason, which is like a really, really interesting way to look at it, I find. But honestly, I think sidestepping this, Alaska, for having like never played D&D, has taken to it so well. Like
She's taken to it very quickly, yeah.
And like especially the characterization side of it, which I kind of expected. Alaska's an amazing actress. I've seen them do some of their audition tapes and stuff as well, and like Alaska's fantastic. But just how much they like took to this improvisation was just I thought it was so good. And like the whole thing with Malort having that like I feel like with a lot of D&D players, it takes them a while for their character to have that thing that thing that kind of like separates them out and like is almost symbolic. Like Mox in like Critical Role in the Vox Machina campaign, like Vex's was Trinket, and like that was such a big thing.
Percy's was Bad News, No Mercy Percy.
Yeah, in the Mighty Nine, Caleb's was Frumpkin, and I feel like Alaska with Lilith has taken on Malort so well to be this really iconic thing like 2 episodes in. And I think
I'm excited for where that's gonna go.
Yeah, I'm very excited for where that's gonna go, and I'm very excited to see what they do with Lilith as a character, given like what kind of class Lilith is as well. I think it is incredibly interesting.
I really am excited to see what Alaska chooses for classes, and if it's going to be along the lines of Bard or not.
Yeah.
So, and like,
because their Bard subclass isn't very Bardy.
No, not at all. And if any of us ask, we're probably not going to get the truth. So like, I'm really interested if like how much we're actually going to, like, with 2 bards being in the party, but colleges that are nothing alike.
Yeah.
Like how that's actually gonna. Like,
I'm
play
very
out
intrigued.
With each other.
I'm very intrigued.
I'm pretty hyped. I think it's gonna be cool.
I have a right. Firstly, she's took to it like a fish to water. I had to say it. Secondly,
she's taken to it like the loving tentacles of. She'll take all of our forms beneath the deep frothing waves.
Oh, dude, That
To the
girl's
depth.
got a big fat proboscis.
Proboscis.
What?
The tentacussy.
The
last,
tentacussy.
la- last week, me and Jessica, things were going well. Bible study went good. We went back to her room and we totally praised the deep ones.
It's just that going into the campaign, like character creation, because like obviously we can't get into like arcs too deep, but like we can go into like what was your character the first instinct you had, or did you go through a couple concepts with this as you got more familiar with this setting? Because I know I did, so like I don't know, I'm just curious.
I mean, originally I wanted to play a druid, and
like a hippie, like we need to stop using plastics at our
no,
college.
it's actually a concept I was gonna do in another campaign, but I ended up not being in it. She's
Was this the Zodiac one?
Yes.
The Zodiac
I thought
one?
that one would have been fucking hilarious in here.
Ted
Yes.
Cruz?
No, okay, so she's like was an Eladrin, like one of the like the real Fey elves.
Oh, yeah.
And
Eldrin,
she was
yeah.
like, yeah, and she's completely abandoned there. And she ends up like getting adopted by a bunch of like really outskirts style other Fae. And so she becomes like a druid. I think she was like a
Circle of the Stars,
like
isn't
a
it?
circle of stars, I think so. But instead of like worshipping celestial bodies and like that type of scientific like planetary governance, she thinks of it in terms of horoscopes and like zodiac signs. And like one of her big insults is like, wow, you're really acting like a Libra. And things like that. Like that's how she was operating. And I originally thought that was the kind of character I wanted to play here. But then Geraldine was born.
I'm glad, because I think you're the highest int in the party, right?
Yes,
That's
by
good,
a
'cause
mile.
we need it. Like, oh my god.
And I think that's honestly kind of part of like seeing what other people were playing kind of helped figure that out, because who would have been the next highest? I think it would have been Alaska or
It was
Jay-Z.
Alaska,
Would've been
me.
Yeah. And that would have left
Because like I'm an int 13.
3 out of 5. I'm at 19.
I've got a 19 charisma. I've got a 16 strength. I think.
I have a 20 charisma and 18 dex.
Yeah, I think those are my highest.
Yeah.
And constitution's pretty high. My int is a 6.
Delicious.
It is pretty fun.
See, my lowest
Pure
stats are all
himbo energy.
13, so like my strength, my int, and my wisdom are all 13. And then the rest are all like my con's like 16 or 17, my dex is 18,
Like, those
and
are,
my
like, decent
charisma is
stats,
20.
yeah.
Yeah, so but like int isn't my like superior stat at all. So
Yeah, and I
I'm
think-
glad we have that one intelligent member of the party.
Yeah, I think Alaska's is 15 and maybe 16.
Yeah.
So
something like that.
and like I think her name is Rune, and I think her int's like a 10, maybe 11. But her charisma is really high, and she was an interesting concept. But knowing that we already had like that style of character in the party, I was like, no, I gotta find something else. And then my Chemical Romance Wet Dream was born.
I just think that's so good. I think it is like one of the best concepts for a character. Like, because I tell loads of my friends about this campaign, and like
Really?
they just like think it's like so
I'm-
good. Even people that I've
Nuts.
run campaigns for before, like I told my friend Belle about it, and they were like, "You are literally a group of kids that never grew out of your emo phase or just returned to it," and I'm like, "Yeah."
But
pretty
there's like
much.
exactly, and like I think why Geraldine works so well is that she does have like the angsty, like had a silver spoon but like revolted against it her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whenever we get around to the point where Jay-Z and Geraldine go on a bit of an adventure
Uh-huh.
and hopefully meet Kaylin. That's gonna be so much fun.
Taking Drazy home
But-
to meet the parents already.
No,
Everyone else got a life-changing trip with Zuko. I want one.
that's gonna. Don't make me add a Zuko arc to my character, alright? Don't make me do it.
Drazian is a bit of like a Zuko-esque character in certain ways.
Yeah,
So-
Eli does like the hidden heart of gold trope. I feel
Yeah,
like.
Yeah.
It is my favorite trope.
From what I know of Eli's tropes, head and heart of gold is definitely one of them. I
Yes.
like deadpan snarker. That's kind of like even when I'm playing an idiot, like there was
I feel like-
one in session 0. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
There was one in session 0. Nobody saw it, but like it was like it was when the captain of the guard showed up, and Kyler was like doing his like usual thing of like being a blithe idiot, and was like, "Oh, Your Excellency," and then Mux went, "I am no excellency," and I went, "Well, that's apparent."
That was so good.
Damn.
So like there is like how you kind of get to know an actor, and how they kind of there's a certain amount of typecasting, especially when you are writing and then kind of improvising the character. There's these like tropes you see, and I think Eli's definitely like gonna have the everyone else got a life-changing trip with Prince Zuko. Like,
I'm really hoping that's something Mux will be down for, because I think that could be really, really cool.
Yeah, what we've talked about is very, very cool, and I love how much you've just jumped on what I put out there, because I didn't expect anyone to pick up the beta. That was more.
I think
just
the
me,
only reason I picked up anything is because I've done so much research for this other character.
Yeah.
So I'm like loosely understanding where you're going, but
See,
I had to decide if like Geraldine was going to establish all of the My Chemical Romance stuff prior to True Arms or during it, and I've decided it's gonna be during, which means I'm subjecting everyone to it. So.
Were you always going to play Drazy and Eli, or was there any like deliberation or?
Yeah, I was always going to play Drazian for True Arms. I've just re-added sound alerts there, Max. So we are now going to get all the sound alerts that were missed. But yeah, basically, from the point that I knew it was going to be True Arms, which I did push for 2 Mux to be True Arms. I was like, as soon as we were discussing it, as I was saying earlier in the stream, I was like, Mux, please can we do True Arms? Because I was saying this before you got on, Mux. I think it's the best campaign setting you've ever done, because it's so unique. It's so unique but familiar in like it encompasses a lot of things that like people love about D&D, what people love about like modern fantasy, and like just has its own like thing and its own like sense of belonging to it. And I think it's like so charming and so well done. So like as soon as we were talking about doing this, like I instantly in my head I was like, if we could do True Arms, that would be fantastic.
It's fine.
We're gods.
Yeah, I definitely think that I wanted to go with True Arms because, Eli, you've been in campaigns with me before, and don't get me wrong, I love a good dramatic fantasy. I adore it. It gets fucking boring after the third, we will return to the kingdoms and save them from an ancient evil. No, I want to go, yo, we're students, and somehow we've ended up in southeastern Colombia in the drug trade.
There's just so much you can do with it, because you can do like even some of the more serious stuff at points, but there's just a lot more room to maneuver with a campaign like this. It's just you have like complete freedom of choice, which I feel you don't get with your classic adventuring party meets in a tavern and goes on a quest type of thing, because there's only so much stuff that you can do with that. Whereas if you're like students going on like and you have like your fucking spring break episode or whatever, and it takes you on a whole tangent and like uncover this like plot of like giant elephant people trying to like make people like turn into giant carpets or something. That's something you can do, because there's There's so much freedom.
Y'all are
with
going to
that.
get like a Scooby Doo plot. Like that's
Yeah.
going to be an
Yes.
entire
Oh my
Please.
god.
Please.
It's like, hey, there's a ghost over by the old factory. You just go in and it's just a Lane and just stomping about who's like in a really bitchy mood.
Old man Jenkins.
I would have got
Kyler's
away
definitely
for it too.
Scooby-Doo. Kyler.
You'd be like, everyone's making Arcana checks, and it's like, oh no, it's just the creepy old guy that runs the water slide. Like,
There's no magic here, guys.
no magic.
It's an entire arc where you guys are like, what enchantments, what traps have been cast, and it's just some old
Literally.
dude in like a tower like 20 feet above you pressing buttons to fuck with you.
I
And you
just
know,
think it's so
Kyler
clever.
would have a great time with that.
Kyler
is the Scooby-Doo of the group. Kyler is Scooby-Doo and Kronk is
100%.
Shaggy.
Kronk is Shaggy. Reggie.
Reggie.
Reggie, where are my resticles?
Scooby.
Roro.
Like when they said fixins. Nothing in like fixins on a sandwich. Reggie.
Where are my resticles?
Can I answer my own question about characters I was thinking of before Kyler?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. No, peace out.
No, because I know the answer to
go
this and
ahead.
it's great. So please, I know
it
the
is-
two answers to this. So please do elaborate.
What one should I go for, Eli? Give me a name.
I think the Oath of the Common Man is great, but the Cobra
The
Kai
Oath of
one
the-
is also fantastic.
The Oath of the Common Man paladin is not a homebrew of our creation, but it's essentially your oath is the oath you take to uplifting the working class, and it's a school of paladin. It's like a paladin fueled by the righteous justice of socialism, and like the desire to like lift like your patron is the proletariat. Like, let me see if I can just find like a couple excerpts from the like module someone wrote for it.
It's the Order of Antifa, essentially.
Yeah,
God.
Oath of the Common Man paladin.
It's
And-
so good.
While I think that's hilarious, it would have been like getting a bit into the lore of the world here.
Mhm.
In terms of the economic situation in Iltanian, it's not quite. It's like right on the brink of. Is this going to be a capitalist, a socialist? You know, it doesn't know what kind of society it's going to run on yet.
It's kind
if-
of they're going an industrial revolution, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mhm.
Now saying that, if this had been if I had been doing this like a solar punk, like a late stage capitalism style, like setting campaign, Oath of the Common Man would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Because
that would have been so good.
it literally would have been, I don't want to harm them, I want to unionize them.
This is the subclass thing. Are taxes too damn high? Is food in short supply though the local lord feasts every day? Is a bourgeois dragon laying waste to your simple farmstead and collecting your precious belongings for his useless hoard? Are you being oppressed by a brutal tyrant or wealthy plutocrat who owns rights to everything conceivable, including your very life and liberty? Is the man keeping you down? Sometimes you need a paladin of the common man, standing for the tenets of equality, togetherness, respect, change, and labour. A paladin who has sworn the oath of the common man is a bastion of change, a defender of the impoverished, and a beacon of hope for a bright and eternally prosperous future. In the paladin's hand lies simple, honest progress, and in this paladin's heart beats a vision and passion that all commoners can rally behind, a chance at a better tomorrow that all can believe in.
Incredible.
Yeah, and like his level 20 feat is he can summon an avatar of socialism and like become like a large creature, like with like a battle aura of like
With the hammer and
socialism.
sickle.
with a hammer and sickle, which is nuts. So I thought about that. He was going to be an Earth Genasi called Jamie Connelly, who's a reference to James Connolly,
Who's my favorite Irish revolutionary?
You know, of all the people in the IRA, he's definitely my favorite.
Yo, we got some James Connolly stands in the house.
James Connolly stands in the house. And he was going to be like the sort of university's like progressive, because like I was in a terrorist group at uni. I still am in it. I mean, you guys are all
In
watch lists for me.
Minecraft.
In Minecraft, I was in the revolutionary communist group in Minecraft. And I went to protests with Fight Racism, Fight Imperialism in Minecraft, and we, occupied a bank in Minecraft and went to protests in Minecraft. And so, like, I felt like I could do that, but like at the same time, something about Kyler just spoke to me. And the other one was a monk, which was who studied the way of the serpent and the fist, which was an oblique reference to Cobra Kai.
The greatest TV show ever made.
The greatest TV show ever made. And like I made up NPCs for like the faculty for like this story, like teaching the two opposing styles of martial arts. The character never got to a name, but I made these NPCs because they were just based on Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. But I didn't want to get too memey, and it was leaning slightly too memey. It was funny, and like it was fun to do, and maybe in like an even more like hard campaign it would have worked. But yeah, I kind of went through a few iterations. Then we landed on Kyler, and in his initial kind of conceptualization, he was a little bit more intelligent, and he was more about cleaning up the oceans rather than worshipping them.
Yeah,
but
he was
then,
an eco warrior.
He was like an eco warrior rather than like a youth pastor.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like when I started like practicing like the voice and stuff with Mux, I was like, oh no, he's got to be the. I'm sorry, I only see you as a sister, and I'm just waiting for a girl that can can mate for life like a seahorse. Like that was where the sort of characterization took us.
It's incredible. No, I like Drazian. I've had like Drazian on the back burner for years, and like it's a character concept that I've always loved because the inheritance cycle is one of my favorite. Is one of, if not my favorite book series of all time. So it's the Aragon books. So like the whole like Dragon Rider thing is like my favorite fantasy concept. It's something that like I've always wanted to like fully realize in a D&D campaign. And the last time that we ran True Arms in its first iteration that Mux ran it, Drazen was the character I used. And like I felt that there was so like much untapped potential and so much cool stuff that like was left unfinished. So as soon as Mux had said, yeah, we're gonna do True Arms, I was like, no, Drazen's coming back. Because like I had like a lot of kind of different inspiration-y bits for Drazian. Like aesthetically he's got a very Final Fantasy-esque look, because like his like hair isn't like old grey, it's like it is essentially like that Final Fantasy anime grey.
Every time I have asked for a reference picture for Drazian, you have sent me a picture of Noctis, old man Noctis. Not old man, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it is
from
old man
Final
Noctis.
Fantasy 15.
I have.
That is who you have sent me. And you continuously say, like, you send me these images, so I picture Drazian as like an older man in my head, and you're like, no, he's like early 20s.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
what do you mean?
He just has a really bad like iron deficiency.
Just the bags under his eyes and the wrinkles and just.
Look,
well, no, because he does look young, but it's that whole like anime like JRPG type thing where the young character has this like it's not even like grey, it's kind of like this blue silver ish color.
I've got a meme for this very situation.
I just kind of imagine like a silver haired Aragorn. And I feel like that sort of like covers it.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe. That is kind of the vibe. I don't know if you've ever played Final Fantasy 15, Kat.
I have not.
Okay, you should play it at some point. It's very good. It's one of my favorite games. But like Noctis's aesthetic, like his old man Noctis aesthetic that he has like in late game is like very, very cool. And it's like if I could get away with it, like I would like look like that all the time because I think it's such a cool aesthetic. It's just like one of those, and I think like visually that was something I very much took from. But
the only thing stopping you from looking like that all the time is your belief that other people's opinions matter about your appearance.
Also I work in a corporate environment.
Anytime you're not at work.
Showing up with a Kree earring, like what are you gonna do about it?
I'm sorry, my dog's being an asshole. Please hold.
No worries.
You're good.
It is that meme of like the bodybuilder. It's like, I'm just your average 14-year-old high school student. Like, yeah. So Mux, we've talked a lot about our interpretation of the world and like how we've kind of like synthesized with it. Would you like to speak about any topics in particular, or anything that strikes you as, what's the word? Intriguing.
No, I don't think I will.
Nah, carry on. Yeah.
Not a damn thing.
Well,
Called
that's
Nunya.
a very. I will. Okay. Fun
Okay.
fact. So, you know, like octopuses. This might seem like a tangent, but it's not.
I mean, I do,
Okay.
yeah. Kylo.
Okay.
Yeah, I know a few.
I've seen
Yeah.
enough hentai to know where this is
Okay.
going.
And what is the plural of octopus?
Octopi.
Octopuses.
No, because it is a Greek word.
I saw
So
a
it's
TikTok
octopi.
about this.
It's octopodes. Octopodes nuts.
I don't care.
But yes, no. Whenever you're a creator or a writer, and Eli will probably connect this in terms of like writing stories, and Cass, you'll probably connect it in terms of like, you know, doing plays, writing, you know, your comedy, stand up routines, stuff like that. And Kat, you'll probably relate to it with your music. When somebody asks you what you find interesting about your music,
Mhm.
it's very strange because the answer is either nothing, I just like it, or everything. And if you
Yeah.
say everything, you feel very conceited.
Or it's something
Correct.
you can't really describe. It's like
Yeah,
it's more of
it's
a
just a pull.
it's more of a feeling than an actual like something that you can physically describe. But when I write music, that's what I'm like with that as well. And with stories, I sometimes get like that too. It's hard to like substantiate it into words, which is very fucking ironic. I know, but
Okay, here's a question then, because I think this is a good litmus test for like the world, like when you're dealing with like fantasy worlds or cyberpunk, like sci-fi worlds. What happens when a house catches fire? I think is like a very good litmus test of like what the world's like how they respond to that.
It depends on where it is, and you know,
So
so there's a meme that was going around on Twitter a while ago that was like, close your eyes, picture an apple. Which do you see? And it was like a picture of 5 heads, and it had an apple in like incredibly high detail, then an apple that was kind of blurry, and then an apple that was just like the block shapes and colors, and then an apple that was just like a gray circle with like a stick point coming out of it, and then nothing.
Mhm.
And it was to like show, okay, what level of imagination do people have? I go past the detailed one because I can't conceptualize and imagine on a small scale. Like, I can't think of a single thing and just go, oh, this. I have to expand and expand and expand. And from that, I can compound backwards. So, whenever, you know, in a question like, what happens whenever a house goes on fire? Well,
Okay, shall I get more specific? In a urban residential slash commercial district in a larger than town to up to capital city, in those sorts of towns, what happens when a commercial business or residential home catches fire? Is that better? Like, genuinely, like,
it's a world where magic exists. Some people, if somebody's around who can help, they will help. And if not, there are regulations and forces in place where you can call for someone to come and help.
is
know
there
what I mean?
like a fire department? Like, do people do that? Like, is there a fire and rescue department?
There's less of a fire and rescue department, and there's more of like each town has their like town's watch, and that encompasses safety, you know, health. So imagine, you know, everything that you can call 999/911 for is included in the town's watch. They will have healers, they will have guards, they will have emergency trained personnel. They'll have everything.
Fair enough.
Because it's much easier in the economics of the world and in the socioeconomics of the world to have everything under a single body in a town rather than regulate it outwards.
Is it the whole kind of thing? Because this is something that I thought about with the existence of the likes of, because there's the Adventurers Guild licenses. Does it almost fall under that whole like comic book type trope of like in a world where there's like superheroes or leagues of heroes, the police force is kind of like rendered obsolete? Almost, they're just essentially the cleanup crew at most points, or is it like, or do like the Towns Watch, would they have like a good deal more responsibility than that?
The Towns Watch would have a good deal more responsibility because technically, adventurers would be similar to sovereign citizens. Like they don't. While they have like maybe states they belong to, or I'm a native of this place, they have free reign to travel wherever as an adventurer, which is why the Adventurers Guild is an institution. Because if you think about the fact that these are people who can just go to a college, learn how to do a bunch of stuff, and then get set out into the world. They like you could have one dude who is just having a really bad day, and is in a really pissed off mood, goes into a dungeon, finds a cursed item that has some sort of like mind control effect, and boom, supervillain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the bodies like the Adventurers Guild are made to control that, where it's like, here's regulations that if you're an adventurer, we ask for you to follow, because if one of you were to go off the rails, there's probably not much we can do about it. And then whenever you go into institutions like the Town's Watch in each specific town, like in Agalane, it's the Paladins of Selenia.
They're always selling you something.
They are indeed, and it's safety. Only you can start forest fires.
Evil Smokey the Bear.
I promise you I will.
They would look after a lot of the stuff, and they would have possibly more responsibility than Towns Watches and Towns Guards would have in like other fantasy worlds, because it's kind of a, if you're part of the Towns Watch, you've probably been an adventurer yourself and you've decided to like settle down and live in a single place, so you've got the experience, and if anything goes wrong, you can fuck up some people who, you know, need to be fucked up.
Used to be an adventurer like you.
Exactly. And if beasts would come and attack, or like, you know, if things need to be taken care of, dungeons aren't just in the middle of cities. Ruins aren't down by the corner shop on the center, like in the down the road. They're out into these ancient landscapes that haven't been explored for centuries, and that's where adventurers are going to be. They're not going to be in every town. They're not going to be always there, especially the strong ones. Do you know what I mean? Like the ones who are like really good probably will rarely come into a town and are just constantly like, right, let's look for a new dungeon, let's get more loot, let's do this.
Speaking of like adventures and their progression, obviously we've got like Agalane, which houses Huron's Academy. What can you tell like us without giving away any too detailed spoilers that you don't want out there? What can you tell us more about the wider world of Iltania?
Nothing. Cope.
Absolutely nothing.
There's a lot
like
within Intel.
Like what's like the continents, the cities, kingdoms, just like any kind of generic
they were
stuff.
forming the Dawn Guard.
that kind of any kind of stuff like that you could share.
So within the world of Iltanian, there are three. They're known as the like the civilized slash occupied lands. And they're known as that because this is where society and civilization has coalesced and has congregated on these three specific land masses. Now there are further off continents where like they're 90% unexplored, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the three kind of places that are mainly kind of put
Settled.
together, settled. I suppose I don't like using the word settler, but you know how it is. Are the Iazarian theocracy, the Udusite diarchy, and the White Fawn Kingdom. Now, the place where most of the start of your adventure is going to take place is the White Fawn Kingdom. This is where Agolane and True Arms is. This is where Oribus, which is the kind of trade capital of White Fawn, is, and it's the starting zone of this campaign. It's ruled by a distant, kind of closed off queen. People know her and people know her name. She's not like a shady figure, but she's not as open. She's not as much of a public figure as kings and queens traditionally are.
Mm-hmm.
If we head further north from the White Fawn Kingdom, there is the Udosite Diarchy, which is a land caught in a war between two factions. I realize that sounds like a situation that is currently happening in real life. It was not meant to reflect that.
I mean, it's
it
always
could
going
also
to be
be
happening
Northern
in real
Ireland,
life.
mate. So
It could be Northern Ireland. It could be Korea. It could be Germany. It could when is there not a war? I don't
Yeah. It's essentially a land that is being consistently fought over by two factions, the Prophecies of Sun and the Iron Foxes. And essentially each of these factions is vying for control of the land and the right to be known as the Mountain King. That is something that certain characters will have history about and will know about. That is something that you guys might find out later on if that is a path you guys go down. And then over to the west is the Iazarian theocracy, which is this huge, expansive land. It is like Europe and North America combined. It is massive, and it is all under the rule of this single religion, which is it's the religion of Iazar. Iazar is a god that is simply known as benevolent and a little bit fanatical, and his followers have taken on that personality. And while Iazar themselves kind of have that, oh, we're a peaceful country, we simply come to let others know of the love of Iazar, and we want to make sure that everybody is accepted by this like supreme might. They are known as warmongers because if you do not accept them, if you do not accept their religion, like if they try to send missionaries and you're like no, they don't even like negotiate. They just go, okay, then you're an enemy, and they will declare war on you. And this is like a well-known thing across the world. But
is that how they've gotten to have such an expansive landmass? Is just constant religious
war,
colonization?
Yep, taking up small city-states, vassal states, smaller kingdoms. It is that is how they've become such a enormous force. But due to that, they also have a lot of issues with justifying their actions. So they always kind of come up with a reason for like, oh no, but we're going to do it because of this. You insulted us, or you attacked us first, and this, that, and the other. But they have
warmongers historically do.
They haven't attacked White Fawn or the Udosite diarchy for reasons unknown. Possibly it's the logistics are too difficult for travel, or maybe they're just afraid of whatever sizable power these two countries have.
Or they're waiting for opportune moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moving
Measure
a-
twice, cut once.
Moving
Exactly.
a bit closer to where we're situated at the minute, and True Arms Academy itself, what can you tell us about how True Arms itself operates? Like, how do the classes run? Like, what's the kind of culture of the school? Is there any houses?
So
Yeah, people live in them. Actually, yeah.
moving in a bit closer, it is definitely a. I want to emulate that feeling of. You guys probably remember this. Maybe Cass slightly less because of like the time that you were in university was quite a politically proactive time.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you're a student, you're kind of blind to a lot of things happening outside of your sphere
Mm-hmm.
because your life is focused on your education and going through what you're going through. Now, that has changed in recent years, but the feeling that I wanted to emulate with True Arms as you guys are first students, and maybe continuing on again, depending on how the story goes. I don't like to railroad things. I have like 100 different possibilities of like, oh well, these guys can go here, these guys can do this, blah blah blah. But it's very you kind of I wanted to give that feeling of, oh, we're students, our focus isn't there's terrifying things happening in the world. We have to go and deal with them, and there's ancient mysteries to be uncovered, and God, who knows what horrors may lie beneath this crust of earth. No, you're students. You're going to this place to learn how to get better at what you want to do, and for some of you, I've kind of got this goal. It's a bit foggy, but I just want to do stuff. For some of you, it's, there could be treasure. It's that feeling. True Arms operates on a very loose basis. If you take classes, so I have introduced, as you guys know, because I've like sent it to you guys. There are classes that you guys can take. I will probably write up little like bits and pieces and like notes or whatever for these classes. But the main thing about them is that it will present you guys up like roleplay opportunities. If you're like, okay, well, this is a focus my character wants to do. I'm going to go into this class, and I'm like, okay, whenever I have class at some time this week, can I approach the teacher and ask this, or can I, is there anything that catches my eye in the lessons this week? Blah blah blah. The classes are less of a gameplay mechanic and more of a, here's a way for me to get information over to you without you having to scratch and scratch and scratch for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like that. I don't like it whenever, and this is just me, I don't like it whenever games, whenever DMs, whenever anything like that is like, you get no information unless you nearly rip your fingernails off looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just, it takes the fun out of it. It, like, okay, well, there's little bit pieces here and there, but I'm not quite there. I want to get like into the meaty stuff. It's like, that's what I will make you look for. But you'll always be able to get a little piece of information here or there, because it's how you keep somebody enthralled. It's how you keep somebody pulled into the story. If they meet a wall in level 1, like if you're playing a video game and you spawn into a room that's just 4 walls and a ceiling and there's no door, and it's like, oh yeah, well, one of these bricks is fake and has a key in it, but you can press every single brick individually and you have to do it until you find the right one. I'm turning that game off straight away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing that game. So a game where they give you like things to keep you coming. That's what I wanted to give you guys, and that's what the purpose of the classes is. You will get to know a little bit about how the school itself works and is what like was founded and like what part it has in the world as the story continues. So I don't want to give too much away on that. There are no houses because culturally I feel like they have been associated with a prominent figure who I do not want to name, I do not want to give publicity to, but I do like the system that they have of kind of building a form of camaraderie, which is why I've introduced the adventurers ranks. It is a system of, you will say, so you guys, you passed the test there, like first in the group. I was timing it. Believe it or not, I was timing to see how long it took you to solve everything, and I had like a checklist of, okay, they did this, they did this, they did this, and there's like different points. You didn't get everything. You didn't get everything, but you got most things.
What did we miss? Can we know?
My guess is stuff in the first room because we didn't use all the items.
There was some stuff in the first room. If you had played the fantasy Uno, and that would have
with the card table.
That would have just been a couple of rules. If you guys had played that, then there was a magical reward. Like there would have been a, out of nowhere there appeared like a reward on the table.
We did get our magical items stolen from us at the end, so
yeah. So what does it matter?
So there's a couple of things that you guys didn't get points on, but roughly. You're going to find this out at the start of the next session anyway, so I don't really mind telling you it. There's a number of different bands of adventurer rank, starting at the lowest and going up to the highest.
Fabrian, he's at the bottom. He must have been scored. He must have scored the absolute.
He's
lowest.
a Slifer Red. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! GX ranks. That's the
you
house
slacker
system.
slacker.
They are ranked by the level of which, like, the creature that you should be able to defeat. So the lowest is Dire Rat, which is what Fabian's going to be at.
All right.
And that is this, like, if there's like, oh, there's a Dire Rat infestation like in the local tavern, yeah, send Fabian. So the lowest is Dire Rat, and then there's like Dire Rat, Wolf, Bear, Dire Wolf, and then it keeps like going up in that, and it goes all the way up to Tarask is like the top one. Like if they think you can kill a Tarask, then you're like the be all end all of adventurers.
Is this exclusive to True Arms, or is this like how adventurers ranks work in general? And
This
True
is
Arms is just kind of licensed to give them.
This is how adventurers ranks work in general, and True Arms is just licensed to like do
assessment.
An assessment of like your starting rank, which is
fair enough.
And you guys are starting off at bear rank, so like the third rank up.
Yes.
So
are we all at that level?
You're all at that level.
Well, now you mention it.
Yeah, specifically Geraldine, you're a Dire Rat. You didn't do shit. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding.
Geraldine did buff me up to fuck. Like
I did.
We got a buff, and I think that was
okay. Is there if you were taking points for while we were going through that dungeon, is there any points we got that like you didn't anticipate, or like way we played something out that you didn't expect? Other than two hooligans locking themselves in a room.
No, because that one was expected. Because the whole point of that trap was to make you panic and see if you would like keep your composure.
And we did, just barely.
The one I didn't expect was attempting to, instead of just going blind in and like attacking the orcs, was going in and going, we're part of the Union.
Oh, you didn't expect us to sell you on the Union?
the union of evil minions. That was
The UM.
wait. It was union of minions to evil overlords.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Good
don't even
God.
have dental.
But the union.
Heartbroken. There's
I'm
blood on your hands, Mrs.
Quickly
Thatcher.
looking at something. Union of. Yep, the Union of Resistant Minions to Overlord Masters. The an acronym is your mom.
Nice.
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 But yes,
Did we get assessed? I want to know about this. Did we get assessed
Individually.
individually or as a group?
Yeah.
there were points for both. It was mainly as a group. It was mainly just
What individual ones were there?
Who got the
Don't
highest
pick up the
individual points?
obviously cursed fucking item and fucking blow yourself up to fuck. That's probably number one on the checklist.
There was individual moments like who is being the most proactive with looking for a solution, rather than just going, okay, well let's take a moment to think and like trying to keep everybody back. There was ones like who was the most impressive in terms of like raw battle prowess. Who was the stupidest and just going into rooms without checking for traps first, which is something you didn't do in any room, any of you.
How do
You-
we check for a trap? You just go in and fuck around and find out, right?
You have passive
Investigate.
perception and
Yeah,
investigation.
passive perception, and you can investigate any just given room. You're just like, can I just investigate for traps here?
I mean,
but
but
you
as a
did-
passive perception, do I still have to? Like, mine's the highest in the group, right?
Yeah,
Do I
so
still
if
have
it's
to
something
check?
you'd have seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, but if there was something lower than your passive perception, then you would have seen it. But if it's
But
higher,
higher, I have
then
to still investigate.
yeah, I'm not going to say anything until you go.
Oh,
Can
okay,
I
okay.
roll for investigation for whatever?
Gotcha.
There's a
Um,
rug on the floor and it seems a little sunken in the middle.
I'm sure it's fine.
See, Drazian like kind of did it more in the first room, was trying to like figure out everything in the first room, but then after that it was like, right, we're getting into combat, fuck it, let's go full steam ahead.
Right?
Yeah, you were all the most careful in the first room, which is brilliant because you fell for the trap that I had laid, which was first room. We're all really cautious. Okay, we have to be super careful. We'll take the longest time here. Did what you needed to do, and then you got a treasure room and immediately let down your guard.
Yeah, a little bit.
All of you just went, "This is fine."
Can I make a guess who got the highest individual points? I
Go
think it was Lilith. I think Lilith fucked up the least.
Lilith fucked up the least in terms of like, okay, well, she didn't make any wrong decisions, but she also didn't make the most right decisions, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
She was the most consistent.
Which is why I thought, if
Yeah.
deductions for stuff like that, like, because Fabrian just grabbed the sword and shield,
I
knowing
mean,
full well what it did.
Fabrian literally only got points for opening the first door. He got points for bravery, and that's it. Like you did all score differently in different sections. The highest in battle prowess was far and away Drazian, because the amount of damage that Drazian did with every the rolls that you got that session were insane.
Inflict wounds, go whoosh.
Fucking insane. Inflict wounds do go whoosh, and it's a good thing that it's like a limited spell slot.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, at will, fucking like.
Yeah.
Could you imagine inflict wounds at will?
But
green flame
although I was very cautious about when I was using it though, because for instance, you especially on the last boss, I only he was prone or basically grappled during each of my turns, but it was getting to the stage, I think it was my second or third turn in combat, where it essentially looked like he wasn't going to be prone. So I was going to ask you, are you employing flanking in this? Because if you were, because he had jumped out of my range, and that's why I got a reaction on him and an attack of opportunity. So what I was going to do is I was going to move round to opposite, I think it was Kronk, so that I was going to be flanking him and would still get the advantage if you're employing flanking rules, which I wasn't sure if you were doing or not.
Eiffel Tower of Death.
Hey yo.
Hey yo.
Are you doing
I'm
flanking
sorry,
rules
I
in the
started
campaign, by
listening at the wrong time. What?
Or the right
The wrong. Yeah, the wrong time with the right one.
Ooh.
Sorry, what'd you say, Eli?
Are you employing flanking rules in this? Because I know it's an optional thing that like a lot of people, some people do, some people don't.
So I am employing flanking rules, but it's traditional flanking rules. Unless there are certain skills that people have, obviously if you're a rogue, it's slightly different. It is traditional flanking rules of you need to be directly opposite each other.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not like
that's what I was gonna do, because I know like I was here and Kronk was here. So what I was gonna do, because at that stage the werebear had gone out of my melee range, and that's why I got the attack of opportunity. So I technically wasn't engaged with him anymore. So I wouldn't have provoked an attack of opportunity. What I was gonna do if he hadn't been knocked prone again was just walk round so that I was opposite Kronk, so that I would still get the attack of opportunity, so I could make the most of my inflict wounds, because like the last thing I wanted to do was use my last second level spell slot with and miss it. So like that's why I was like
with the spell, yeah.
So that's why I was always like thinking about like what's the most opportune way for me to hit this.
Yeah, I get that.
How did Kelsey score? Sorry, because like she was deprived of the final battle. So
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kyler.
Yo, I did what? How
Yeah,
was
did that
my
hurt
fault?
Kyler being a dickhead?
How was it my fault? What do you want me to do? Pick up the half?
I don't know.
Like, I'm sorry. How is that my fault? You guys started an encounter, and I was like, right, I gotta get in. Just barely made it.
You decided not to come with us. That was your decision.
There was water.
Because there was water. Yeah, I know.
I know.
Yeah,
You could have just stayed by the water.
Kyler always decides not to come. He's a member of the NoFap community.
I'm sorry I asked.
My seed is too precious. It's kingly.
The only thing I'm getting wet is my bathing suit.
Jesus Christ.
Did she score lower than us because she didn't get into the room?
She overall would have scored lower than you guys, but she got good points for being the one to figure out that like the doors leading to the next areas were generally just unlocked.
Open.
Yeah.
Guys.
No, it's
so
like
she in the same tier. Did she make the same tier as us? Because then I might actually feel bad.
No, she unfortunately she got one below you guys, so she's in wolf. You guys are in bear. So
throw him to the bear.
It's okay. Listen, it could be worse. It could be Fabrian and rodents of unusual size.
I didn't think they existed.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But yeah. So, that is the ranks are how like my replacement for houses, because I also don't like the fact that it's like, hey, you're 12. We're going to judge you on your personality now, and it will define the next 7 years of your life and who you hang out with.
See, I was more thinking of like, you know how they do it in Strixhaven. Yeah, I could, because that's how I was thinking of it, or like because it's like a classic thing in like college, and like especially in the UK, and like colleges and universities, and
it's more of a high school thing though. It's more like societies in the UK, and like fraternities and sororities, and
like I went to a private school that had houses.
Yeah.
It was more of I think it's more of a high school thing as well, just generally. Like if you at uni you were like, oh, gotta come to the thing so we can get more house points, I would have told you to fuck off. Like, I would have been like, fuck off in 20. Like,
Yeah, no, because it was more the like sense of belonging thing, which I think is quite cool. Which is why like I like that it's like it's almost like Yu-Gi-Oh GX like how you're doing it, Max.
Wait, so if we're doing these like levels, are those common knowledge to everyone the same way like a house would be?
yeah, like it would be
Yeah,
on your license, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Or well, your provision.
So
Do we get like provisionals?
do we get like to meet other people in our? Are there going to be other people in our rank if we finish first?
It depends on how well they will do, and people can move up and down throughout the year. Some people will do like exceptionally well in their academics, and they'll
And
get a
that will
bunch of
move.
points rewarded. And it's like, well, here's a higher rank. You have more access to like more dangerous materials now for you to study.
Gotcha.
Or if you're the kind of students who just take independent study and are just like, I'm just here for the license, and then I'm going to fuck off, be an adventurer for
Right.
5 years, and then come back and like show you guys my adventurer rank, and if it's high enough, then I pass.
Fair enough.
There's going to be people like that.
There'd also, I imagine, be people in like the higher years who potentially would have the same rank as us potentially, because like they may be like, well, not
Slide for
done so
slackers, yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'll be like second term and third term students who are maybe in rank 3 who aren't doing so hot, but like
How many ranks are there? Like, you said it went up to Taras. How many? Is it like 40, 30? What are we looking at?
there's roughly 25 ranks.
Okay, fair enough.
So there's like a good push that you guys can like move up. But
Are we
it's
at,
not
like, what,
gonna.
rank 5, is it, or
3.
You're on
Three,
rank
four?
three.
rank 3?
Because Dire Wolf.
Dire Rat, Wolf, Bear, Dire Wolf, Dire Bear, and then so on and so forth.
If I was playing a more typical character that I would tend to play, I would be like, yeah, let's advance. Let's min max the shit out of this. But like, because I'm playing Kyler, I have to be like, say la vie, man.
Yeah, everything's fine.
It's like, I'm a bear? Yo, I actually was told I was a twunk. But
Oh my gosh.
I thought I was a narwhal.
The ranks dictate a lot of stuff. So like, if you go into an adventurers guild and you're looking for shelter there, the ranks will dictate what kind of rooms are available to you and what resources are available to you. Generally, it will also dictate what kind of like quests you can take. What kind of things you're available to do. So people will put down, okay, well, there's a tomb of undead who have continuously kept attacking the town that is nearby the tomb, and we need people to go in, but we need them to at least be like hobgoblin rank. It's that kind of thing.
It's like
It's like a danger meter. It kind of shows people how skilled you are, and at the same time allows you to look for, as adventurers, allows you to like keep your wits about you and know what is what.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the system of in Jujutsu Kaisen about how they like rank sorcerers. It's like what they rank sorcerers on what level of curse they should be able to deal with, and that usually means they're like one stage stronger than the curses they're dealing with. So say like there's four stages per like level, and someone's like a stage 3. They should be stronger than a stage 4. Is that? It's like if you were a bear rank, you're stronger than a bear. You could comfortably handle a bear.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's the animal or the based animal creature that is your rank represents what they believe you can beat.
Yeah.
So.
Can I ask another question if no one else has one? Because this is interested me. How many? Right. We live in. This is a world where it's
from here to Owlbear. How many ranks?
From here to Owlbear. No. How high is Owlbear? That wasn't my question, but how high is Owlbear?
Owlbear's an 8.
Okay, that's doable. I love owlbears. I fucking love owlbears. It was right. So we live in a world where like there's one of the world's largest academic institutions is to be an adventurer. How many Tarask adventurers are there, and do they have like a degree of celebrity? Like if they're like, Tarathon the Swift Sword, who slayed 4 Tarasks, is like coming to town. And like there's girls like throwing their underwear. Like is that what we're expecting to see?
So, as you guys probably noticed in like the class list, there's ones that are like poetry, musical theory, speechcraft, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Adventurer for some people is like the path that they want to go into, and for some people it's a guide to a further path. So there are like full-blown celebrities in this world who are like higher level adventurers, and they just got themselves popular enough where they could start doing like, yeah, I like want to perform, I want to be a singer, and I needed to get my name known, and what better way to do that than go like get all these stories for me to tell and become an amazing bard, and or I wanted to travel the world and collect poems or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There definitely is a degree of celebrity, considering in this world there are. You guys haven't used them in the on-screen campaign yet, but there are like magic phones, and there's like it's called the Crystal Net, but it's like a it's an internet that is available to you guys to do whatever you guys need to do. Um, there are adventurers that live stream dungeons.
Hey, chat. Thank you for the
What?
donation.
Yeah, there's
Let me
adventurers.
just kill this real quick.
Yeah, there's adventurers that live stream dungeons, and um, there's a very niche subsect of adventurers who speedrun dungeons.
Okay, so our dungeons function in the same way like this void dungeon just functioned? Like, essentially on like a safe mode? Like, there's not actual like...
So
like
actual dungeons like out in the world, if you die, you die.
yeah.
But they are made out of a material and magic that people like since the abolishment of knowledge, people haven't been able to figure out how it works. But creatures keep respawning, and treasure continuously, like there are like major treasures that once they're taken they don't go back.
Right.
But there's like, oh,
Lesser.
there was like 2 gold in that pot, and then I like did a loop of the rooms and I came back and there was another gold in it. So things kind of in a lot of dungeons things kind of rebuild over time. Um and the purpose of this is still unknown to most of today's society. There's theories that it was a sort of training grounds for like ancient
Yeah.
armies. They would like send you in and just go, okay, get to know this as best you can, and then do this. Some people believe that it was a form of farming, where these beasts, these magical creatures, had materials that could be used for different things. So
Right.
they
Like
created
resources.
so they created environments in which these creatures would continuously be created and come back, and that would entice people to come and work in those locations. So
Gotcha.
they're not quite sure how it works.
It's
But
sounding a little Star Trekky holodeck style. Like, is that essentially what we were in? Like, it was just like a void world created and like that's it?
that's kind of what you guys were in.
Yeah.
But like dungeons out in the world aren't like if you die, you die.
Oh,
You
so the actual stakes.
Yes,
It's
there are
just
actual
got
stakes.
it.
It's just like the
But
end,
they
like
have this like resource regeneration.
yeah, kind of.
Interesting.
There's there is a fantasy thing that that has a similar system as a game. It's an old Korean MMO called Mabinogi, where the dungeons exist and they do regenerate, and like they form certain instances depending on what you offer to the shrine, and like they're never clear. Like there's a golem that lives in one dungeon. It's what's the one? It's the harder dungeon in the starting town. I'm gonna look it up. There's one called Albi, and there's one. Wait, I'm gonna look this up.
That's kind of Log Horizon-esque as well, isn't it, Max?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, and like people, if they aren't like the player character, die in these dungeons, but they can keep going back in as long as they have things to offer to Morrigan at the start. But there's one done like they mention it in a quest. The map is too small to read. Where are you? CR dungeon. That's it. CR dungeon, and like, there's a golem that lives there, and one of the kind of like coming of age things is to become a golem slayer, but they never run out of golems, and it's always like one of two golems that's there. Like it's never like it's not a constant stream of being new golems. They just keep coming back. So it kind of I think it's kind of like that. Like the dungeon regenerates itself.
Mm.
As like monsters like do they like form? Like they're not born. Like there's not like
No,
goblins.
they just form.
They just form. Like it's
they're
out.
born of the dungeon itself.
Mm-hmm. So like climbing out walls and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
and that is what has created this culture of like dungeon entertainment, where people can literally just strap on a camera, or like strap on like a crystal screen that would like stream live to the crystal net.
It's D&D Ninja Warrior.
Oh God.
Where they can go, right, I know all the routes and all the possibilities here. Let's see how quickly I can get this dungeon done. And you know it's entertaining because one, it's like to see how skilled people are, and two, it's literally like I might see somebody die here. It's this like morbid curiosity.
Blood sports,
yeah.
I actually need to go, but I love you guys. I just have to figure some stuff out for the lease that I'm trying to sign. And
you go do that.
Someone else is gonna try to take my house.
Enjoy.
I love you.
I love
Best
you
of luck
guys.
with the house.
Have fun.
Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Now she's gone. Let's make fun of her. No.
Probably still in chat, like with the stream open.
Yo, what the fuck?
What the fuck, Richard?
Whose interactions, Mux, have actually like not quite? I don't think impressed you is the right word, but if you've gone, oh, that's interesting.
Stood out to you, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, none yet, because I have a
you're all mid as fuck.
No, because the reason is that I have a fair idea of all your characters, and you've played Drazian with me before, Eli. So at this point, I know what you're expecting. Once we get a little bit further in, that's when I'm going to start seeing the moments of, oh,
yeah,
okay, here's things to mess with. Right now, it kind of feels like replaying the tutorial a little bit.
No, I get you.
Specifically with Drazian, because you've played him before. Once we get past this stage, it'll be a completely different ball game because Drazian has slightly changed, and the world has changed.
Yeah,
which is going to be interesting to see.
And I think those two things have kind of like evolved together in a certain way. Like the way Drazian's backstory has evolved, it actually suits very well, like how you've set out the world. I think it's very, very, the things that we talked about like potentially doing long term has me excited for like the long term plan. I think that's very interesting and very, very cool. So I think like that evolution and that progression, seeing like how it's changed from the first even seeing how the world has changed from the first iteration of True Arms, is very, very cool. Because I remember in the first iteration there was like the town that True Arms was in, and then like we had to get a train to the capital city, and that's where we were doing like a lot of questing and like doing like nightclub heists and stuff like that.
No, legitimate. That was the thing that they were actually doing.
It was so much fun. I had such a blast during that arc. It was like this kind of Arcano punk nightclub that we had to like essentially infiltrate and figure out like what was going on in there, and like basically stop a drug trade, which was cool. I had so much fun doing it.
I'm gonna ask a question that I'm sure Muck is tired of hearing as a forever DM. Do we get a level now? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Fuck it, yeah.
Do you want to level up now on Tabletalk? Do you guys want to level up on Tabletalk?
Yes.
Shall we do it? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Let me.
Yeah, if any of the other guys are watching, go ahead and take a level 4.
Yeah.
We're 4 sessions in. Go ahead and take a level 4.
I'm glad I asked now. If you don't ask, you don't get. You know what I mean?
You would have got it at the end of next session anyway, because I would have
Yeah.
marked off in my mind. Okay, that's a milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Because for people watching, I don't think I've explained we're doing the milestone leveling system, which
Because it's the
is
only good way to do it.
If
it
we were
is
doing non-milestone leveling, I would be like, right, where's a bunch of shit I can kill,
Yeah.
and I just want to do that all session, because then I get stronger.
yeah, because
Like,
then number go whoosh.
number go whoosh. Like,
The XP leveling system, I stand by this. The XP leveling system is only good for Adventurers League, or if your DM only likes combat.
Yeah.
mhm.
If you are at all interested in story, then milestone leveling is the way to go, because you feel like you get stronger with the story going. Do you know what I mean?
I need 2 levels in fighter to get action surge, so I'm not gonna bother. I was like, oh, do I like take a level in fighter and get action surge? But I forgot it was 2nd level.
I'm looking at feats because there is a lot of like cool feats that I could get.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say, Cass, I think taking 11 fighter might be worth it because you get second wind.
That's true. I have lay on hands though, which does the same thing.
Yes, but second wind is you get your own thing, then everybody else gets lay on hands.
Do I take a level in fighter?
Plus, it gives you a fighting style, which you
I'm
can
pretty sure I
then,
have a fighting style. I have a fighting style as a paladin. I have blessed warrior. I can't take it twice.
you can't take it twice, but you can take
It's-
another one. You can take it.
Oh, can I
Yeah.
take another fighting style?
There's
Yeah.
one that gives you a bonus for having a shield.
Okay, fuck it. Let's take a level in fighter, guys. What are you doing, Eli?
I'm still taking a level in my current class. But
You can say what not the subclass if you want to keep that a secret, but you can say like what the main class is.
it's technically a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Technically, it's based on a sorcerer, but it does a lot of other things. Well, actually, fucking, I said it earlier that like, my whole concept of Drazian was based around like the Aragon books. Drazian's a dragon rider, so that was like I mentioned that already. So it is a homebrew subclass that I set up, and it's very much like a spell sword style mechanic, and you get like these different like features like the dragon aspect, which is why I can use Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
As not a warlock.
Do I go for great weapon fighting is quite mid. Because like I do like use like a 2-handed versatile weapon.
So
Protection and interception, maybe?
tridents can be used one-handed.
They can, yeah.
Yeah. Just so you know, you
Mhm.
like use it two-handed for whatever reason that you say, but it can be used one-handed if there's any skills that you're like, oh, that says as long as I'm wielding a weapon in one hand and not the other, blah blah blah.
Superior technique, maybe? I don't know.
Not
Because all I'm getting in
quite
4th
sure.
level as a paladin is ability increase.
Yeah, I personally say it's always worth taking 2 levels in fighter because you get
Action surge.
action surge.
Yeah, okay, fuck it. I just need to know what fighting style I want to take. Blind fighting, let's go. You get blind sight at 10 feet.
Mux,
So also trident's gonna be used as a thrown weapon as well, I know.
question: you see any of your like custom feats? Are they still allowed?
Which one?
It probably wouldn't work for Drazian anyway, given like his style of magic. But Sundering Flames.
Let me have a quick look. Because that was a feat that I wrote for Cinder.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, cool. Let's do that.
you can't take that until 7th level.
Oh, you can't take it until 7th level.
Yeah, because that's when like that's when the base damage starts. Because that's when I give you guys all your personal feats.
Oh, right.
Uh,
Cool.
And I'll probably do the same for this campaign as well, because I like the idea of having like an identifying trait for your character. So if you want to talk to me about having a personal feat,
Yeah.
then we can talk about that.
Yeah, sweet.
And for you, Cass, it's probably fairly obvious what that is.
It would have to be something water pertaining. I don't have much. I have as much as I can get out of Oath of the Ancients pertaining to water. Oh.
But it's not a feat where it's just like, oh, you just take a feat. It's like we will talk about like what is something that your character would be able to do.
Bet.
That is like identifying to them. So for example, we had a player who had a skill called Visage from Hell. Once per day, you can create a portal from Cania, which is one of the levels of the 9 hells, summoning a greater demon of CR10 for 30 seconds, or until it takes damage equal to 100. Or one creature that you choose within 30 feet of the portal must make a will save equal to your spell DC or take 10d6 psychic damage and be frightened by the creature.
Crikey.
So that's like and again, these are all once per day things. These are like
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's once per long rest, definitely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just be casting that every combat.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that kind of things.
I do like the kind of idea of because a lot of Kylo's best moments in combat have been like just with like a really powerful trident blow.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me a lot because I put it in the chat. Like I don't know if you see Demon Slayer, but one of the characters only knows one technique. He's just really, really good at it, and I don't think he's quite that restricted.
Is that the boar one?
No. Inosuke's no, it's not Inosuke. It's Zenitsu. He's the lightning guy, and he knows the first attack in his like school of sword fighting, which is like a lunge and slash. And he just drilled that to the point where like it's perfect. And like I think I kind of like a really good lunge attack with the trident or something, or that makes like because like the smite does like a lot of damage and stuff like that. Maybe buffing that or something with like a water effect on top of the typical smite or something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about it. We've got until 7th level because that's when I feel like you guys start to get the good stuff. So I'm like, that's when you'll get your like defining character thing.
Is Clouds of Elytra a custom one, or is that just
that is indeed a custom one?
Okay, because I couldn't see any level associated with it, so I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, that is a custom one. Most of the ones that have like a strange name are going to be custom ones.
And I take it that's another like kind of 7th level one.
Yeah. Any personal feats are at least 7th level.
Right. Okay. I am probably going to either take Sentinel or one of the Gift of the Dragon ones.
Oh.
Charmingly awkward. Prerequisite Jeff Goodman. You've always been liked by people, which is strange because in most situations you say the wrong things
Jeff,
once per day.
Jeff.
By pure luck and awkward charm, you can choose any one non-hostile person, have them affected with the charm person spell with no saving throw. This effect lasts for 8 hours, during which they'll do anything you ask for them as long as it does not cause direct harm to them or their loved ones.
Yep.
So when did you want us to take a feat at level 7, yeah? Well, then that'd be like 1 week.
Yeah, that's when you get your personal feat. So.
Cool.
Dwarven.
Dwarven. or can we have dwarfs with Dwarven?
Dwarven. No, 'cause earlier I was messing about with some character names, and I came up with one. I'm Ronald, the Welsh Genasi.
Oh, fuck off. Right back to your mum. Whose coat is that jacket?
Whose coat is that jacket?
Whose coat is that jacket? Rathian's Welsh, remember, guys? Nazoth's Welsh.
What's in the south?
Nazoth's done more for the Welsh
Grants
language.
ability similar to a hexblade, but works for the fiend patron of the warlock class.
You have a mind that can track time, direction, and detail with uncanny precision. You gain the following benefits.
Oh, he's got a keen mind.
He's got a keen mind. Could I just read any one of these feats and you could tell me exactly what one it is?
Pretty much.
Once per day, you can harness the knowledge that you gained over the many decades you've travelled. Using this and passing a DC 12 intelligence check allows you to discern one fact about something you can see. This list includes an enemy's current HP, an attack's hit dice, a saving throw success DC, an enemy's weaknesses, an enemy's resistances, and a creature's AC.
Seeker's intuition.
Yeah, by the way, fucking hell.
Autism.
When did I take tough? I think I took tough at level 1. Did I?
Tough is a good one to take because it
Tough is
literally
good. It's just good.
2 extra hit points.
2 extra hit points. Your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat, and then every time after 2 extra hit points. It's pretty solid.
A lot of people will take that at level 20 or close to level 20, so you get nearly 40 extra hit points.
Yeah, I probably should have done that, but I took it too early. Tavern Brawler.
Tavern Brawler. Why, aye, Ollie boy.
I take it Kyler or Kronk is probably the tankiest out of us in terms of raw HP.
I have 48 HP and 18 AC. So probably. I might swap Tough out for Piercer. I hardly know her.
Go ahead.
I might swap out Tough.
Because Sentinel might be quite good for you as well.
I was thinking about I'm not taking Sentinel, I've taken Intercept, which is fundamentally the same thing. It's the same thing except it's a fighting style rather than a feat. It's when someone near someone I'm beside, I can make a reaction roll to decrease their damage taken by, I think, is it 1d10 plus my AC. I'll have to check the exact nature of it. That's Channel Divinity.
Sorry, Darcy has just texted me, stop showing your tits on stream, because I keep stretching like this.
Show them more.
Yeah, Interception. When a creature you can see hits 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage the target takes by 1d10 plus 2.
Yeah, the camera's pointed towards me, so you can come get it if you want to. Look, I'll even do. You guys are coming. Yeah, we're staying over here for now.
Show me that burger, Mux. That is a mediocre burger, as they say, if Pulp Fiction used McDonald's.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go... This is the new McDonald's Barbecue Big Tasty Burger with crispy onions, barbecue sauce, 2 strips of streaky bacon, Emmental and cheddar cheese. Get it now.
Sponsors McDee's. So yeah, I've not taken Sentinel, I've taken...
Sponsors McDee's nuts.
We're sponsored by McDowell's. Some people have the Big Mac. We have the Big Mick.
I have just realized that my camera has a very slight fisheye lens effect because I can do.
Incredible.
Sentinel
doesn't actually do what I thought it does. Mux, is there a feat that allows you to if one of your allies beside you's about to be hit by an attack, that you can actually put yourself in the way for you to take that hit instead?
there's interception, which is a fighting style, and there's a defender, which is a fighting style, which is gives them disadvantage on the attack roll.
Yeah.
Which I think is as close as you can get. I don't think you can quite do the step in front and get a big slash up your chest and go, no, I will protect you. I don't think that's an option. Is it? It might be.
I'm going to quickly look through the feats here and have a quick look at.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take defensive duelist instead.
Yo.
Because it works specifically with finesse weapons, which is what Drazian uses. When you're wielding the finesse weapon with which you are proficient, but obviously can't fucking say, and another creature hits you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to add your proficiency bonus to your AC for that attack, potentially causing the attack to miss you.
Crusher, I hardly know her. Does Kronk not do bludgeoning damage?
Kronk, yes, does, as unarmed monk fighter. 1 second, I'm going to grab something for Darcy. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Update the stream on what you guys are doing for your characters.
I am done, so I reckon when Eli's done, we should. I don't know. It's been 2 hours. If you guys would like to wrap, because I know Eli does have work tomorrow. So like, would you like to wrap here? I think it's been enough.
I will likely not be working from the office tomorrow. I'm supposed to be, but I've texted my manager not because of things that occurred this evening.
I ain't feeling it. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding. Have you considered making it not my problem? Yeah, I think I think it's been a fun sesh. I think we've had some good insights. We got a level because I was cheeky enough to ask for one.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
If you don't ask, you don't get. And
actually, no, I know exactly what feat I'm gonna pick, but I know it's allowed, but I'm not gonna say it because.
Boo. Okay.
It's a certain gift.
Stock cunt.
I've been all over this week.
You're sub race from Stoke-on-Trent.
Pussycat, where have you been?
Well, I've been all over this week. With the invocation, Pussycat, where have you been? You can summon the Pussycat from Dick and Dom and the Bungalow. It's just
incredible.
Health equal to 2d6. If you'd like a raid target, I can have a look for you, or have you got one?
Let me take a wee look.
I literally just went, "Oh, Eli's live." I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm here." Like,
yeah.
I'm not a wise person, Eli.
Do you know Miss Vampy is live, and
hell yeah,
we haven't raided Vampy in a while. Vampy is a very good IRL friend of mine. Plays a lot of Final Fantasy, plays a lot of Devil May Cry, plays a lot of the RPGs that I like, and deserves all the love in the world. So we will raid out to her.
Let's do it.
Thanks everybody for coming. This will be uploaded to YouTube along with Sunday's episode will be up within the next couple of days, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, thanks very much for coming, guys, and we will see you on Sunday. Bye bye now.
Well, thank you for having us, Eli.
Not a problem at all.
Make sure you end the stream properly. I know you're gonna go and probably see Mario, but make sure you end the stream properly because you don't want to be like talking and then it's because that's happened to me way too many times.
It's magic 1-up. You don't survive 2 lasers.
Okay.
It's 5 in total that you get.
Don't worry.